Welcome back to Echo Ridge and another episode here in our Max Colonization series. We have about 23 cycles before the big rock fills in this near empty gap that we have. I wish it wasn't quite so hot. It is cooling down a little bit because there's still so many goodies in here. Warm coat. No, we don't need any warm coats. I would have liked to have deconstructed a lot of these ladders, but sadly that's not going to happen, so I think I'm just ready to seal it in. And for those of you wondering, the asteroid is going to hit because no one has found the lost intracosmic blast shot. I'm kind of looking forward to it hitting because the first 177 cycles of this series has been getting our colony up off the ground and then starting to make blast shots. We also had to take a significant detour because we didn't start with a lot of algae. We do have some basic metal refinery capability up, and this pool is still only 4.9 degrees, so we could churn out some refined metal. Yeah, we're not doing too bad. I don't think we're too far behind the power curve, but it's going to be good to get this colony stabilized, the living conditions a little bit better, most likely some real bathrooms. But I think first, I want to put in another row of insulated tiles. What would be even better is if I could leave a gap and then vacuum it out. And that way there's no heat transfer from one insulated tile to the other. But I don't know if we have time for all that. We can get rid of the suits now. We're not going to be using them. Oh, man. All this gold amalgam. All right, I'm going to get one strip of the gold amalgam wire back. All of it should drop down here. That gold is just too valuable for us to waste. I'm not going to go over here and recollect all of this, but the dupes can survive just one deconstruction command, and then that'll be fine. And I suppose if I did put a gas pump in here, I could just vent it out in here because it's all being released to the vacuum of space anyways. But can it be done in 20-something cycles? I don't know. We might as well get started though. I still got some cleanup over there to do. Dartles, you might want to move. That's not going to be a good place to stay. This is going to require some more digging, which is part of why this takes so long. The other part is the fact that each insulated tile is 400 kilos and we don't have very experienced builders yet. Everybody's almost back to normal from the heyday of the last episode, so we should have our dupe labor back online here in a minute. I'm also going to be able to clear out all of this. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Also, sometime today, I'd also like to get the dupes off the manual generators. We do have access to the peat burners, and we are generating more peat thanks to our wonderful lums. But the disadvantage of the peat burners is, well, they're a mess. They produce carbon dioxide, polluted water, a bunch of heat. I suppose I could put it in a nice cold biome. Oh, this might be it. Right over here with all of these wheezeworts, I can core through here, make a big bucket for the polluted water. We can deal with it later. And if we leave the wheezeworts, it'll stay cooler here for longer. All right, that's on the agenda too. All right, the hole is back open. There's our deconstruct command. Just make it quick, dupes. We have all the things to do today, and the big rock's only getting closer. Why do they keep going up over here? Oh, they're grabbing all that brine. Oh, not again? This was supposed to be sweep only. And all the brine's back in our water tank. So I guess here we go, corner building and destroying this brine again. That should help the duplicate labor because that was a far trip and there's quite a few bottles. Oh, is the saltwater one on? Where am I dropping saltwater? Right here. Why wouldn't I put this on sweep only? That's a bad past echo. Oh no, not this again. Look at this. Oh man, how long has this been leaking? And where are we getting more polluted water from? Let me move this and build this a little bit taller. Oh, the poor bee biome. And if we check the relative temperature, that polluted water has warmed this whole area up. Hopefully it will cool it back down. And then maybe we can do something with all the ice. Oh my goodness, there's 56 kilos of hydrogen gas in here. I need to tap that and also make a liquid lock so we don't lose any of it. So maybe peat power and hydrogen power? Because I don't think just one Saturn critter trap would be enough to maintain a decent power supply. Unless there's another one over here. That is a lot of hydrogen. Cycle 180, and this is how much progress we have made. I suppose I could make it a little bit quicker by not building these corner pieces. I just like the way it looks, despite the fact that nothing's getting through there anyways, but I think it looks cleaner. although it is an awfully big waste of resources. Oh, we're about to get stuck. Do I have any storage for that bleach stone? Oh, that's right, we were storing the bleach stone for the emulsifier, which we may still use one day. Maybe we run biodiesel into a petroleum generator. Duplicant labor is definitely on board. We got the whole team here helping out. Josh, you're running out of air, buddy. You might want to start working. Where's the oxygen? Oh, Edenwald, no! I should have known better to dig everything out first. Let me get another gas vent up here. Apparently there's not a lot of O2 up here for some reason. Well, I guess it would help if I sealed that off, because right now we're venting all of our oxygen. Oh, somebody left some building materials in here. Let's go get them. And it's important too, because we're going to be staring at this double insulated wall for quite some time. When that rock hits, it's going to generate a lot of heat. Yeah, I believe there are cold parts to the rock, but it spawns a few volcanoes. And, you know, volcanoes get hot. Way to go, Jesse. I don't know why or how you did that, but we don't want to keep you in there either. And now it's Callie's turn. This build is such a pain in the tuchus. I suppose I should turn the asteroid overlay on, because you can see I would have inadvertently made a mistake there. That is supposed to be down here. Oh, you too, 270, way to go. I'm also going to need to demolish the research portal. What's that made out of, by the way? Neutronium. I still wish demolition would give you some of the resources like deconstructing does. Do I have a demolitions expert? Josh? Oh boy, this might take a while then. Time to put in our gas pump. I think this area right here will be good, because that still needs an insulated tile. And I deconstructed that gas vent that we just put in. That way they'll stop feeding the inside with even more oxygen. I realized I need to get back up there again, because I'm going to need to build the gas vent. And yes, the asteroid will end up destroying the gas vent. But remember, the idea is to get this whole little area here vacuumed before the asteroid hits. Gonna need a little bit of power. Well, that's convenient right there. And now we can start building on this side. And I guess since I will dig it down too. That way all that brine and nastiness falls down here. Do let me not waste a colossal amount of power by trying to vacuum it out when it's still open. We're making pretty good headway. We're half done with the shaft. I think that's what I'm going to call it for now on. And we still have 18 cycles to go. Well, this is a little awkward. I need to shift this over because I need to build this like there. But if I do that, all that water is going to drop. And this used to be, well, I guess it's a bunch of everything now. Water, salt water, brine. And it's a little full. Can I mop this? No. It is only cycle 185, so I do have a little bit of time if I wanted to pump it into some buckets. Okay, here we go. I am just going to extend this and we will start pumping that out. I have some wire. This is not the construction project I wanted to be concentrating on, but we're here for it. Our next pod made me consider this Catalina. Not necessarily the ranching, but the building and suit wearing is pretty strong, starting with that positive athletics. Unfortunately, they are narcoleptic, which I don't mind for some jobs, like cooking or research, but a digger builder really doesn't need to be falling asleep when they can get themselves trapped. So we're going to take the pemmican. And I'm also going to make sure the dupes never eat the pemmican, because this is an excellent space food, because it never spoils. So the more I can print out of the pod of it, the better it will be for the future. The pump is installed and slowly starting to drain this water. I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to move, and I may just have to let it splash down, because this is going to be the final piece right here. We're making great headway over here on the left side. In fact, I can probably start vacuuming out the right side. It's going to take a little while because of the way this shaft is shaped. And just in case I end up needing to vent that gas pump out here, I need to build another gas pipe right there. And that way I don't have to break the vacuum. Just in case Demolior does land and this is not completely vacuumed out yet. One tile down, which might be enough. Yeah, I think that will end up working. The dupes can squeeze through a one tile gap when they have a two tile gap waiting for them. Here comes Callie now to demonstrate. Way to go. I think it looks cuter when they're going up through it. There's S. Piercer. See, they do this little crab crawl over there. And there we go. It is 100% complete, and we have 13 cycles to spare. So much time for activities. Now, what do I want to get into? I'm thinking power would be helpful. It's too soon to start using the biodiesel process, so let's start building down through this biome here. If I do it right, I can use this water as a liquid lock. Speaking of liquid locks, this water is actually preventing the bees from being able to consume all the carbon dioxide. Oh, I need to save that beta hive. How long until it actually perishes? You know, this would be a great opportunity to get rid of these zombie spores, because I can dig through here when there's a bunch of liquid because the zombie spores won't go anywhere, right? As long as the carbon dioxide doesn't shift up and out. No, we're going to leave those there. But I will start moving this stuff out of the way, help that carbon dioxide go down. Then I'm also going to get a liquid pump down here. Let's say right there. And we're not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to find a spot where I can stick some buffer tanks. Dun dun dun! Could somebody please tell me why this keeps happening? Look at the amount of brine in here. There must have been some leftover ice. Oh, half of our tank is now filled with brine. Well, at least we're not using a liquid pump in here. Let's try building a wall like that, and then I'll drop all that brine somewhere else. What a mess. We have enough to do. I'm also starting to push all of this water up and out, so it'll fall down here, and this pump will grab it and put it into those tanks. I'm gonna need a lot more buffer tanks now that I'm looking at this. Unfortunately, this construction project is not easy because, well, the dupes can't breathe in here. And they can't breathe up here because of all this chlorine. I could make this process a little bit easier by adding in a gas buffer tank and start to siphon all of the chlorine gas. Or even better, have I found any Dasha seeds yet? If not, there's one right there. But I'm sure there was some in this biome. Hello, little crab. You don't like your new home, do you? Well, you shouldn't have been biting people. We, in fact, had 11 Dasha salt vine seeds, so I'm going to plant just a smattering of them. That will eat all this chlorine up once and for all. We're still on the struggle bus completing this project, but getting rid of the chlorine will help. And as soon as I get some of this pumped out and the beta hive can start making more bees, they'll start consuming all the carbon dioxide again. I was also considering going over to this vent and geyser and sealing it in, but I don't think it's necessary because there's such a large area around it that's still in tiles. Even when the asteroid removes a bunch of them, there's still a pretty big buffer between the vent or geyser and the rest of the biome, so I'm not too worried about it. After great cost, time, and stress level increases, we've managed to get this pump running. Just have a little bit more of the water to push over. This shouldn't take too long. Because as an example, I can't remember exactly what cycle we started doing this one, but as you can see, it is almost empty. And I do want to get down here and start capturing some of this hydrogen gas, but I'm going to wait for the stress to go back down, and then we'll start doing some digs in here. Hopefully by then, this pool will be empty. Beta hives will start drinking all this carbon dioxide. The Dasha salt vines will also drink more of the chlorine gas, so it won't be such a hazardous dig. Elsewhere in the news, we've separated the brine from the water. I guess there's still a little bit of water up here, because of course there is. So time to get in there with another pump. And then I'll put in a bunch of other buffer tanks and repeat the process. And I doubt we'll end up using this water, but if we ever need to move it around, we can just deconstruct the buffer tanks and then move the 5-ton bottles around if it's not convenient to run a pipe. Because this game, I plan on having very little shortage of duplicate labor. I've been looking for more dupes because our calorie count's doing fine and we can support up to 17 of them thanks to our little half spawn. And I'm also doing some other cleanup around the colony. We have a lot of water we have to move around, although I don't have any more storage for it. It might go into buffer tanks. I also need to start considering where I want the dupes to permanently live. Oh, I know what else I need to do. I need to set up my plastic farm. I guess this is not a bad area to do it. In fact, if I put the farm tiles in here, I want to do 4 because eventually I'll have an auto sweeper that is able to do another 4. Well, I suppose I should back up and explain. We are going to be planting a bunch of the Laura plants. Well, the Laura plants, when they eat any sort of bug, like nits or our butterflies, they eventually produce us amber. We can take that amber over to the plant pulverizer and turn it into resin. Well, resin, fossil, and sand. And then we take the resin, throw it in the polymer press, and whammo blammo, we get plastic. Since there's no Drecos on this planetoid, nor is there any crude oil, it is your only path to plastic. Now, there is an oil biome on the neighboring planetoid, so you could go over there, go crude oil into petroleum, and then petroleum into plastic, but this little plant setup is going to serve us nice. Oh, I just realized that was not a good idea. I just limited the growth of my overgrow vine. It gave me a message that plants have died. Alright, let's fix this up, which that tells me I definitely should have started with regular tiles in here. Let me find an alternate place that's not going to make this so cumbersome. In fact, maybe just directly under here. We don't need triage cots anymore. Update on the vacuuming process. We have grams of oxygen right by the gas pump itself, milligrams on this side. But up here you can still see there's quite a bit. So I think I am going to have to add that second vent. We only have 6 more cycles until the asteroid hits. And I don't think this is going to be done yet. So let me throw in the other vent. That way there's no break and we can get it vacuumed out as soon as possible. And just as I suspected, when we replaced the natural tiles with standard tiles, it did uproot the overgrow vines. So our poor lums are going to be a little hungry for now. I do have some overgrow fig ready to go. So maybe I can put in a critter feeder. You need to go back to your home, buddy. But this is all the price of doing business when you're trying to modernize your base. I was also looking around the map to see if there was any existing overgrow vines. Oh, right here. So I can harvest these, which will help feed the lums for as long as possible. Oh, Fallout Stan. You are really not good at construction. How long is the critter feeder going to take you? I am starting to get brownouts on this wire here because of all the liquid pumping I'm doing. So I need to wait for this pump to finish before I start pumping all this out. We got lots to do. Okay, Stan, that's 2 in a row. You're about to go into timeout, buddy. There was no reason for you to get stuck there. Oh, Callie, not you too. Callie, I expect better from you. And here we are. I'm building this row in, and I'm going to be able to drop this water. The water will fall, go into the correct hole, which will then end up in our primary tank. Easy breezy. Oh, look at all the pacu filet we haven't been using. Cooked seafood, please. Actually, I think I'd rather the smoked fish. So I'm going to undo cooked seafood. Now, granted, it will take a little while to get enough pacu filet, but when we're done, it'll be able to feed a little over 11 duplicants at a good quality +3. Same as cooked seafood, but, you know, we like that smoky flavor. Here comes all that water, nicely draining. And then I will be able to start building our plastic farm right into here. In fact, since we're going to be putting more mimikas down here, I am going to move all of our sweat corn down as well. I'll need to lock them in so the butterflies don't fly away. Some of you just sang a song, I know it. Now it's time to do a little bit of math on the Lura plants. When they're domesticated, which is what we're going to be doing, they don't require anything except for the flying critter. Well, it takes them 12 cycles to process it. Well, remember, our Mimika plant takes 5 cycles, so you only need 1 Mimika plant for every 2 Luras. Right now, we only have 3 seeds. We will go get more. They'll also drop seeds as well. But the excess Mimikas will help fertilize all the sweat corn, and I realized these need to be farm tiles as well. Otherwise, the Mimikas will not fit. And here we will have our wonderful auto sweeper, and then we'll stick a storage bin right here filled with dirt, so that way the auto sweeper is the one providing fertilization for the Mimika buds. Now right now we only have 275 tons of dirt, so that's going to last a while, but eventually we'll start composting polluted dirt, and then we'll have a renewable source of regular dirt. It won't be because of our bathrooms, but rather because of our water sieves. Now I'm going to try to be patient and stagger the planting of the mimellets. If I have 8 plants and 5 cycles to divide them between, means I need to plant them about once every half cycle, a little bit more. So I'll wait till this Mimika bud is at 20% and then I'll plant the next one. That way we can be sure that there's always going to be enough Mimikas around. Let's go ahead and replant our sweat corns and get all this swept up out of the way as well. And all we need is a little power wire for our auto sweeper. It's a nice little build. Now eventually I'll have a conveyor loader somewhere in here. I'll probably need to get rid of 1 Laura plant up here That way the auto sweeper will be able to see the conveyor loader and we'll ship it off to the wonderful plant pulverizer. I suppose for now I can just move the plant pulverizer down. That's not too bad of an area for them to pick up the amber and load it in. I can also probably stop growing sea combs for now. That'll give us a little bit of duplicate labor back. Let's grab a couple of extra Lauras. I think I can reach these two with just a couple of ladders. That'll be 6 Laura plants. This is ready for a sweep down here. And what's better than a buffer tank to get ready for our plastic? I won't want to make the plastic down here because it does make a lot of steam. Granted, it's not too cold down here. In fact, I could open this door up and we could make the plastic in here. At least until we get an industrial sauna, and then we'll end up putting the polymer press in there. I just noticed our storage bin was full, so I ejected all the polluted dirt. So what I think I'm going to do is set up a little compost area right now. I'll put a deodorizer in here. We have one over here, but due to these 2 storage bins that are going to be chock full with compost stuff. And I suppose since we're doing this, we might as well put an auto sweeper in. Wasn't I just complaining that there was too much on that wire to begin with? From around the map, we already have 792 kilos worth of amber, so we might as well click forever on that. We'll start stockpiling resin until we are ready to make plastic. Our little compost area is complete, and we have plenty of storage for the polluted dirt. I suppose I should also collect the rot piles in there. And I'm starting to realize I am setting up a more permanent base than I had originally planned. Granted, it's not very big, so this location might work out well. Our main shaft would be here. I really did want to pip plant a nature reserve, though. I could also move the barracks around, and I like to have my industrial sauna close to the barracks. I suppose it wouldn't be too bad if I put the industrial sauna over here, eventually, and that way I could have a slightly bigger shaft, and there's still enough natural tiles in here for a pip to plant. Alright, I guess this is where we're moving into. It's going to take us a little while. There's a lot of work to do, but the future is planned out. Over on our water tank, the liquid pump is finished. That's some good news. I'll be able to remove this wall, and it'll be nothing but water in here again. Oh no, what happened? Why did I break a pipe? Resin doesn't freeze until 20 degrees, so I'm not quite sure what would have happened. Piercer's getting ready to finish one, though. There goes the resin, no cracked pipes. Anyone's guess at this point? We are about to roll over into cycle 200, so that'll give us one more cycle until the big asteroid hits. Here's hoping that the construction was good. I'm very interested in a couple of things. First, what's it gonna do to this water geyser? Can it destroy neutronium? Second, I'm curious to what this geyser is. Oh look, we finally have bees back here again and they're drinking all the carbon dioxide. I'm glad that one finished up. It's still not great down here yet, but they're getting there. I suppose I will deconstruct all of these liquid pipes, recover all those materials. I will dig out one uranium ore tile so I can mop that polluted water up as well. And look at all the bees doing a great job drinking all the carbon dioxide. I'm also curious of whether or not these insulated tiles will hold if the asteroid only takes out natural tiles from around the vents. In other words, we're going to see if the asteroid only takes out natural tiles from around the vents, not ones that the dupes built. I also think I'm going to open this area up too, so that there's more bees drinking that carbon dioxide. We have a small problem right now, and that is the fact that our gas vent is overpressured once again, because all the carbon dioxide and everything's been sitting here for so long. So our smoker is getting a little bit too full. Eventually it'll fix itself, but I'd rather not run into a calorie situation again. 0.3 cycles. I'm going to go into the pretty cinematic view so we can capture it in the best possible way. Should we all count down together? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the rain, baby! And just stop right there in my little baseball glove, please. Here it is, spawning some of those vents and geysers. Looks like we got 4. And this worked perfectly. Yes, the water geyser did get deleted. We ended up with an iron volcano. My goodness, between Jabos with the iron ore and the iron volcano, we are set. 2 standard volcanoes, and then a hydrogen vent. Notice that the asteroid itself, the outside is particularly hot, hundreds of degrees, but the core is sitting at -92. Additionally, there's a bunch of magma here, which is almost 2,000 degrees. But notice that the shale is still sitting at 44.5. There was a lot of comments and videos leading up to this point, thinking that the hot magma was going to melt the shale. Well, because insulated tile has the insulated property, it exchanges temperatures with tiles around it very, very slow. It does eventually do it though. The question is whether or not the big asteroid and its thermals are going to be able to absorb all this magma, or the heat from the magma rather, so it solidifies. I'm not too worried about this volcano, although there is some vacuumed out areas here, so if the magma gets too high, it's just going to dump into the vacuum of space. I'm going to need to deal with that eventually. This one should definitely stifle itself. Something else to note about the asteroid is what it's composed of. You'll notice we have several veins of the iridium. So yeah, we don't end up with a nice point of interest spaces and tile that has an infinite source of it. We still get access to the new iridium and its plus 500 degree overheat protection. There's also igneous rock. There's neutronium that you're going to have to build around. There's a couple of nice veins of glass. Also, there's diamond, some iron ore, a bunch of ice here in the middle. That's going to end up turning to steam relatively quickly. Let's go see the verdict. The volcano did not get touched. In fact, did this even erupt? It was supposed to be triggered, but I don't see any igneous rock in here, and it says idle. I'm not sure why that is. It was supposed to start erupting. There's that cool steam vent, and while it is dormant, I should probably get in there and deal with it. Let's go analyze it. And then we found out that this is a chlorine gas vent. Unfortunately, it's one of the hot chlorine gas vents, so it will dump more heat into this biome. Luckily, there's already 1,200 grams of chlorine gas, so it'll start stifling itself at 5K. But notice that this one erupted, so maybe they don't actually get triggered if you've already dug the geyser out. I don't see any other surprises. We still have our saltwater geyser over there. I did not build enough tiles around the polluted oxygen vent, so I'm going to get over there and do that now. I really don't feel like dealing with it. You can tell it erupted already because there is polluted oxygen in there. No, I don't think it's the digging out thing because we still had the one tile sitting here. So the volcano was not exposed. Why didn't you erupt? Are you broken, volcano? I really like how this ended up fitting just like a glove, but that's going to do it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to start building out our base a little bit more, moving our barracks, setting up some permanent bathrooms, possibly even putting some power in. I'm not 100% sure. I'm looking forward to hearing everything you have to say in the comments below. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.